There is a lot to like about the TV show Blood Hounds on Netflix, from the incredible boxing to the fantastic fight choreography, but every now and again we catch a move or a movement that doesn't quite look right. It's a little bit on the border of completely fake and totally seeable or realistic when it comes to fighting. So today, instead of trying to break it down and say how it absolutely can never be used in combat, I'd rather give it the old college try and see if we can't make it work. Now, the movement I'm talking about in particular is demonstrated when the main protagonist is fighting a group of thugs in the middle of the street, and he gets into a very low boxing stance with his hands up and starts taking full steps forward, but they're so dramatic that they look like penetration steps or what a wrestler would use when he goes to take someone down. So we're gonna take this movement apart and see what changes we have to make in order for it to be combat effective. Something really important to consider if you're having to fight multiple people at one time is that you want to be very comfortable in the stance you're having to defend yourself in. And one thing I can tell you after doing 20 years of martial arts and fighting is that this stance was vastly uncomfortable to stay in and move with. In fact, if someone was to throw a punch at me and not just run past me when they miss, like the guys did in the video, and actually follow it up with something else, I likely would not be able to get out of the way and defend myself. The next thing is this motion doesn't really take into consideration the fact that you have to keep your eyes on your surroundings at all time. It actually stays in a very linear fashion, going down a straight line as he's fighting off multiple people, and it doesn't take into account that, well, hey, at any point these guys can just turn around and pursue me and attack me again, and I'm not moving incredibly fast in this stance, so I really would have to either leave it or I'd have to turn around, neither of which we saw in the clip. Now, something I did like was the full steps forward, where he was changing his foot position as he moved down that line. It definitely threw his opponents off, and the changing of the stances does actually throw your opponents off in a real confrontation, so I think this aspect could be left in there. So the first real big thing that we need to change is that we need to elevate ourselves. We can't be putting so much pressure on our knees as we're moving forward in such a fashion. We need to be standing up a little bit taller in our fighting stance. Now, I don't mean getting up on the balls of our feet or even just standing normally. We still need to have ourselves hunkered down quite a bit. We just don't need our heads to be at our opponent's hips. Now, the next big thing we have to deal with is the not being able to see behind us or take in our surroundings during these motions. A big rule of thumb when it comes to combat is you never want to take too many steps forward or backwards without changing angle, which simply means going from facing one direction to facing another, likely to either cut off our opponent or avoid a counterattack. But in this case, we're going to use it to get a good eye of the land and take in where all of our opponents are at different points, because we will miss some of them if we directly go past them on that linear motion. So let's say after about 3 steps, we'll get up on the balls of our feet and pivot off to the side. That way we can get a look at the things we may have missed on our way in and things we couldn't yet see because they were directly behind our next opponent. And like I said earlier, this allows us to avoid a counterattack. So if we were moving forward and that person was gearing up to punch us right in the face, we're able to successfully get out of the way by pivoting off to the side and even attack them from a different angle. And if your fight is just one-on-one, this method might prove to be a good fear tactic, as you could frighten your opponent off by doing this because they have no idea what you're doing, and rather than sticking around to find out, they decide it's best to hightail it out of there. So combine the elevated stance with the full steps forward and the changing of direction, and we have the makings of a pretty awesome technique. But that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please, as always, remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment down below, and of course you can visit my merchandise store down in the description, where all the proceeds go to my non-profit free MMA, where we teach everyone martial arts for no cost, and is in fact the backdrop of today's video. And if you're here for the giveaway from TikTok, please remember to also follow me on Instagram so I can fly you out here and we can spar. And as always, please remember to eat well, sleep well, train hard, and I'll catch y'all next time. Have a good day.